Have you ever stopped to wonder how our world actually runs? I mean, from your bank account to your food delivery tracker, there is this invisible engine that makes it all happen. Well, today, we're going to pop the hood and take a look at that engine, the database management system, or as you'll hear it, DBMS.
Okay, seriously, just think about this for a second. You're on some giant online store. You add a pair of sneakers to your cart, right? At that exact same moment, thousands of other people are doing pretty much the same thing. So how does the system keep your cart separate from theirs? And how does it stop the last pair of those sneakers from being sold to 10 different people? What's preventing total chaos?
Well, the secret ingredient, the magic behind the curtain, is a DBMS. It's like a master organizer, a high-speed traffic controller, and a digital security guard all rolled into one. And in this explainer, we are going to show you exactly how this incredible system makes our modern digital world even possible.
All right, first things first. To really get what a DBMS is all about, we have to start at the very beginning. We need to talk about the journey from completely random, raw data into something that's actually useful, something we call information. So, look at these numbers, 1012674 and 28761. Right now, they mean absolutely nothing to us. This is just raw data. But watch this. We can add a little bit of context using something called metadata, which is just a fancy way of saying data about the data. We'll label that first number as a staff ID and the second one as a phone number. And just like that, meaningless digits become genuinely valuable information.
And that transformation, well, that's everything. You see, data is just the raw facts and figures, with no real meaning on its own. But the second we process it, organize it, and give it context, it becomes information, something meaningful, relevant, and ready for us to use. This simple difference is the foundation for everything we're about to talk about.
So, we've turned our raw data into useful information. Awesome, but where are we going to put it all? And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, the database itself. We store it all in a database. Now, a database isn't just some digital junk drawer where you throw stuff. No, it's a very organized collection of data that's logically related. Think about a university, right? Student records and course information, they belong together. And crucially, the database also holds that metadata we talked about, the rules that define its structure. It knows a name has to be text and a birthday has to be a real date. And you see these digital filing cabinets everywhere. Your university uses a database to track all your grades. The local library uses one to manage every single book on its shelves. Even the supermarket depends on one to handle its inventory and all those transactions. They are literally the backbone of how modern organizations work. Okay, so we've got our organized information and it's all stored neatly in a database. But how do we actually use it? How do we get to it, change it, or, keep it safe? For that, we need the brain of the whole operation, the DBMS. The DBMS is the software that does all the heavy lifting. Think of it as the gatekeeper that sits between you and the actual database. You never touch the raw data directly. Instead, you make requests to the DBMS. You say, hey, find this customer's order, or update this product's price, and the DBMS takes care of the rest.
So let's break down its main jobs. First up is just managing the data. A DBMS lets you define the whole structure of your database. You create the tables and set all the rules. We call that data definition. And then, of course, it lets you actually interact with the data inside. You can add new information, change it, delete it, or just ask questions about it. And that's called data manipulation.
Next, we have two functions that are absolutely critical. The DBMS acts as the security guard, controlling exactly who gets to see or change what data. It also handles something called concurrency control. Now, this is the magic that stops, say, two people from booking the very last seat on an airplane at the exact same time. Without it, you'd have total chaos and constant errors.
And finally, there's reliability. What happens if the power goes out or a server just crashes? Well, the DBMS is responsible for backup and recovery. It's constantly getting ready for a disaster, making sure that if something bad does happen, all that precious data can be restored safely. It's pretty much the system's built-in insurance policy. So why is a DBMS such a game changer? Well, to really appreciate it, we need to take a quick peek into the pretty chaotic world that existed before them.
See, in the old days of what we call file-based systems, every single app kept its own separate data files. And as you can probably imagine, it was a complete mess. The same customer's address might be stored in 3 different files, all of them slightly out of date. It was wildly inconsistent and, honestly, a security nightmare. A DBMS fixes all this with centralized control. It creates one single source of truth, with strong rules and security that everyone has to follow.
Now that we know what a DBMS does and why it's so important, let's bring it all back home. Because you might not realize this, but you are a power user of database systems every single day.
Yeah, every single time you shop online, a DBMS is working furiously behind the scenes. It's finding the product you searched for, it's updating the inventory when you add it to your cart, it's processing your payment securely, and it's confirming your order, all in a fraction of a second, for thousands of customers at the same time. It's incredible.
And when you check your bank balance or make a transfer, you are putting your full trust in a DBM. Those security and consistency features we just talked about, they aren't just convenient here. They're absolutely essential to making sure your financial data is always 100% accurate and protected.
And booking travel? That might be the ultimate test. A DBMS has to coordinate data between dozens of different airlines, hotels, and rental car agencies in real time, all across the entire globe. That concurrency control we mentioned is working overtime to make sure the seat you booked on that flight is truly yours and only yours.
So let's wrap this all up. We start with raw, meaningless data. A DBMS helps us organize it with rules and context, turning it into a structured, secure database. And then it acts as this powerful gatekeeper, letting us manage all that information safely and efficiently. From a bunch of random numbers to your flight confirmation, that whole journey is powered by a DBMS.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What would a single day without databases actually look like? No banking, no online shopping, no social media, no traffic control. Modern life would just grind to a halt. It's a piece of technology that's so fundamental to our lives, we often forget it's even there.